Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to one of our newest subscribers, Spitfire the Dragon. Thank you very much for subscribing to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. Spitfire the Dragon, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. If you don't subscribe to the channel, to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel, please, if you're watching, if you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We have lots of great content on the channel, some great interviews coming up as well. Okay, let's get into it. Can Impact Wrestling sign Braun Strowman, or will Braun Strowman end up in Impact Wrestling? If you remember earlier in the week, Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President Scott D'Amore said on a Twitch clip that Impact is currently on the road to Braun for Glory, indicating that the former WWE superstar could make his debut for the Bound for Glory pay-per-view in October. This is WrestlingInc.com reporting, actually. So Braun Strowman actually tweeted out. He made an interesting tweet after Scott D'Amore mentioned the three words, Braun for Glory. Braun Strowman tweets out, "Remember in life, if you're going to do something, make sure you make an impact. Carve your name in stone, hashtag Titan." So he might be hinting that his new name's going to be Titan. And he's hinting, throws out the word impact there, throws out the word impact there to hint that maybe he's going to Impact Wrestling. Now, people are saying, well, maybe he's just trolling. But then again, think about it. Let's think about it. First of all, there are people on social media that don't think Impact Wrestling has enough money to sign Braun Strowman. They have plenty of money. They could sign Braun Strowman very easily. Okay, I was reading somebody said if they sign Braun Strowman, they're going to go bankrupt in about 3 days. They're not going bankrupt. Impact Wrestling's not going bankrupt. They have enough money. They have plenty of money to sign Braun Strowman. I mean, they offered Chris Jericho a huge contract before he signed with AEW. They paying the Good Brothers big money. They have the money, so they can sign Braun Strowman if they wanted to. But let's just think about it, though. Will Braun Strowman end up at Impact Wrestling? I think there's a very good chance. I think there's a very good chance that Braun Strowman ends up at Impact Wrestling. One, everybody seems to want to go with the AEW. I mean, CM Punk is there. Daniel Bryan, rumored to be there. Bray Wyatt, rumored to go there. Adam Cole, rumored to go there. They just signed Malachi Black. They brought in Christian Cage recently. So they brought in a lot of talent. So there's a lot of people, a lot of good talent right now in AEW. Braun Strowman signs with AEW. Where would he fit in? Where would he fit in AEW? He's not going to be at the top of the roster because right now that's CM Punk and with Daniel Bryan coming in and possibly Bray Wyatt and Adam Cole. Where would Braun Strowman fit in? I'll tell you where he would fit in Impact Wrestling. He'd be at the top. He'd be right at the top. He'd fit in. He'd be the number one guy, without a doubt. He'd be the number one guy in Impact Wrestling if he signed with Impact Wrestling. And maybe that's what Braun Strowman wants. Maybe he doesn't want to be lost in the shuffle. Maybe he wants to be the guy. And if he goes to Impact Wrestling, one, he could definitely help Impact Wrestling grow. He could definitely create a huge buzz, create huge excitement, create huge publicity for Impact Wrestling if he signed with Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling needs to make a splash, a huge signing splash. I mean, like I mentioned, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, going to AEW. We'll talk about Daniel Bryan in a second, but CM Punk just signing with AEW, and they plan that signing out to be the world's worst kept secret. And that's so people knew he was coming. They never really officially made an announcement that CM Punk was coming, but you knew with all the hints and everything that were dropping, you knew he was coming to Impact. I'm sorry, to AEW. Maybe that's the route they're taking with Braun Strowman. Maybe making it the world's worst kept secret. They're going that route. So Braun Strowman's coming to Impact Wrestling, but they're not going to officially make the announcement until he shows up at Bound for Glory. Braun Strowman's contract is up on August 31st, maybe even before Bound for Glory. But his not his contract, his 90-day non-compete is up August 31st, so he's got a few days left, and he's tweeting this out. and dropping the word Impact Wrestling after Scott Demore on the Twitch channel, Twitch TV channel mentions Bound for Glory is going to be Braun for Glory. So maybe they're trying to go that route, making it the world's worst kept secret that Braun Strowman is coming to Impact Wrestling. I really think it's possible. I have a pretty good feeling that Braun Strowman is going to end up in Impact Wrestling. I could be wrong. He could wind up in AEW. I know Mark Henry mentioned that he would love to have Braun Strowman in AEW. But then again, like I said, Braun Strowman, with all the new names coming in, where would he fit in AEW? I mean, look at Brian Cage. Brian Cage came in, um, I think it was like a few months ago, maybe a year ago. He left Impact Wrestling, came to AEW. Um, they were touting Brian Cage now in AEW. What's he really doing now? I mean, with all the other names coming in, he's kind of left in the bag. He's on the outside, kind of looking in. You know what I mean? And you think about Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is doing something with Dan Lambert. They brought him in. Oh, Ethan Page is coming in. Great, great talent. But what is Ethan Page going to do with all these top guys coming in? Yeah, you're gonna say, oh, they got an AEW Rampage now, but still, you have an influx of new talent coming in to AEW. So where would Braun Strowman fit there? And does Braun Strowman want to be on a third or fourth match on the show, or does he want to be in the main event? Impact Wrestling, he'll be on the main event all the time. Impact Wrestling, he can really get in there and really help out and really help build Impact Wrestling to be because I think it's a top company. I think it's a top promotion. They have lots of talent, and making a big splash with Braun Strowman would definitely help Impact Wrestling, and it would definitely give them great publicity, and they will be the talk of professional wrestling for a few days if they were able to sign Braun Strowman. I think they could do it again. The money's not an issue. They have plenty of money to sign Braun Strowman if they want to bring Braun Strowman in. And it's just, what does Braun Strowman want to do? I mean, people are saying, oh, they can't sign Braun Strowman, then Braun Strowman's not going to want to go there. He's going to want to go to AEW. Look at the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers could have gone to AEW, but Impact Wrestling came in. They offered them a great deal, lots of perks, lots of benefits. Good Brothers, they like the deal. They like Impact Wrestling deal better than the AEW deal. Not sure if AEW even offered them a contract or what kind of contract AEW might have offered them, but they chose Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling was able to afford them, and they didn't come cheap. They didn't come cheap, and Impact Wrestling was able to afford them. Of course, I really do believe once their contract is up, that they will head on over to AEW. That's my feeling as well. But I really feel that Braun Strowman, Impact Wrestling is a likely destination for Braun Strowman. I really think they could bring him in, and I think they should pull out all the stops to bring in Braun Strowman. I know they had expressed interest in Bray Wyatt. I know they're going hard at Bray Wyatt. I don't know if Bray Wyatt would sign with Impact Wrestling, but who knows? I mean, if they offer him a good enough contract, um, anything's possible. And again, they have enough money to sign Bray Wyatt. They have enough money to sign Braun Strowman. They're not going bankrupt. There's not another nail in the coffin for Impact Wrestling, as people have been saying for the last 12 years. Oh, final nail in the coffin for Impact Wrestling. It's Impact Wrestling is alive and well, and I really feel that Braun Strowman is a likely destination for Braun Strowman. And I expect Buddy Murphy also. I know Scott Demore also on the Twitch that Twitch TV clip. He did mention that he was teasing Buddy Murphy. Will be debuting for Impact Wrestling. From what I was reading, that Buddy Murphy has already signed a contract with Impact Wrestling. That's the rumor. I read it on a couple of sites, but I think there's a 99% chance Buddy Murphy will be coming to Impact Wrestling. I really feel that, but I also have really good feeling. I don't know. I just got kind of a bit of a gut feeling. I just kind of feel it down in my gut right now that Braun Strowman also will be heading to Impact Wrestling. So we'll keep our eyes on it. Anything else develops, because I know it's the 29th, 2 more days. The 90-day non-compete for Braun Strowman is up, and we'll see. I don't know if they're going to wait till Bound for Glory to debut Braun Strowman. I would think that they would do it well before then, being that his contract, maybe the next set of tapings, who knows? But I really believe, I believe Buddy Murphy's contract, 90-day non-compete, I should say, is up on August 31st. So I, I, I'd be very surprised if Buddy Murphy didn't sign with Impact Wrestling after reading that, there's a rumor going around that he's already signed a contract, or he's agreed to sign a contract. I don't know if he can sign a contract. Maybe his 90-day non-compete is up. I'm not sure. But I also have, like I said, that gut feeling that Braun Strowman will be signing with Impact Wrestling, and they could really use him because their viewership was down. Their viewership was way down. The last episode of Impact Wrestling only drew 98,000 viewers. 98,000 viewers. That's not very good at all. I know they got the YouTube channel. I don't know what the numbers are on the YouTube channel. I know you could subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch the episode of Impact Wrestling on YouTube. Maybe more people going that route. I'm not sure what the numbers are on that. But on Access TV, the viewership was 98,000 viewers, and that's not very good. They got to get that up. That's why they need to make a big splash. They need to make a big signing. They need to bring in Braun Strowman, and if they could, maybe they could entice Bray Wyatt to sign with Impact Wrestling if they bring in Braun Strowman. Maybe that's another thing. Maybe bring in Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman could, call his buddy Bray and say, "Hey, Bray, this is a great place. Me and you could reunite here. We could really tear it up in Impact Wrestling. There's a lot of potential here." And I think that will lead to other wrestlers signing with Impact Wrestling because there's a lot of NXT talent out there that were released recently. We want to mention all the names in the past podcast. Lots of interesting talent out there. Lots of, I shouldn't say it, well, interesting and very good talent out there that I think could come into Impact Wrestling as well and really start building Impact Wrestling up again because they need to get that viewership up. 98,000 viewers. That's not good. That's not good at all. I mean, for my first thing they need to do, and I'm not going to go on a rant about it, but the first thing they need to do is put the Impact Wrestling World title on an Impact Wrestling wrestler. By having it on Kenny Omega. Okay, I understand Kenny Omega came in. It's Kenny Omega, so belt collector, and put the title on him for a bit. But when you had Christian Cage defeat Kenny Omega, another AEW wrestler, that's telling the Impact Wrestling fan that, wow, Impact Wrestling wrestlers aren't nearly as good as AEW stars, because you had to have, you couldn't, you had to have another AEW guy defeat an AEW guy for the Impact Wrestling World title. You couldn't have it should have been Moose. I don't want to go into, I don't want to rant about it. I've ranted about it enough, but it definitely should have been Moose, but it doesn't, it doesn't look, it looks very negative when you have an AEW guy beating another AEW guy for the Impact Wrestling title, world title, and you don't have an Impact Wrestling guy getting the belt back for the company. So it just makes it look bad. I'm not a fan of that. Again, it should have been Moose, and I'm going to leave it at that. Not gonna go on a rant. I did my rant about that on a on a past podcast. So speaking of AEW, Tony Khan confirms that AEW is set to make multiple additions to the roster over the next couple of months. So this is Ringside News reporting. I know Ringside News, people give it, people say don't believe everything you read on Ringside News, but it's a website, they're reporting it. So I don't mind ringsidenews.com. Okay. So anyway, but it says the AEW is primed to add several new members to their roster very soon, as CM Punk will be the first surprise of many. We previously reported how Bryan Danielson is expected at All Out, and even more names are expected. According to Tony Khan, he has always been in recruitment mode for the company during the Wrestler Observer Radio. So this is true. Tony Khan, they're quoting Wrestler Observer Radio. So it says Tony Khan was very tight-lipped about Bryan Danielson coming to the company. Then he was asked a more blanketed question about whether fans should expect more roster additions in general. This was met with a more affirmative response. Tony Khan saying, I'm going to make multiple additions over the next 4 to 6 months. I think there will be some activity in the near future. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't think anyone would want me to just like, I don't think they would wanted. What the hell is he saying here? It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to say what it is, and I don't think anyone will want me to, just like I don't think they would want they they would they screwed up this quote here. So I'm not even going to read the I'm not even going to read the quote. It appears they screwed up the quote here. It just doesn't make sense. But or maybe I'm just having trouble reading it. But no, I think they kind of screwed up the quote here. But anyway, bottom line, Tony Khan bringing in uh, definitely look to bringing in some more talents to AEW. So when you think about it, Daniel Bryan. I mean, he was asked about Daniel Bryan. He said, "I can't answer the question. I can't answer that question about Daniel Bryan." Um, which is interesting because when he was asked about CM Punk, he said, "Oh, I can't answer that question," and then CM Punk came in. So we all know Daniel Bryan's debuting. Daniel Bryan is definitely debuting for AEW. It's rumored at Arthur Ashe AEW Dynamite. They were saying it might be beforehand. They said it might even be at All Out that he makes his debut. But Daniel Bryan definitely, or I should call him Bryan Danielson now. That's what he'll go by. Will definitely be debuting for AEW. And you think about the others, Adam Cole is a free agent out there, Bray Wyatt possibly. So there are other wrestlers out there that AEW will be looking to bring in. I mentioned Braun Strowman; he could be a possibility, but I feel he's going to Impact Wrestling. So AEW really looking to bring in some more talent to the roster. But then it thinks, they have AEW Rampage. It's a 1 hour show. Where are they going to fit all these guys? And when does AEW say, you know what, enough of the spending? Enough's enough. We're spending all this money. Like I said, you got the guys like Ethan Page and Brian Cage and other guys that they brought in. Even Malachi Black, right? They brought him in, but now they're bringing in all these newer guys. Where's Malachi Black going to fit in? Where are all these? They're we have too many. What's the quote? You have too many chefs in the kitchen. It's gonna spoil the soup, something like that. I don't think that's the exact quote or the exact phrase I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. If you have all these stars coming in, who's going to be the top guy? Like I said, is Adam Cole want to come in, and does he want to be like the third match on the show? Does he want to be put him in a feud with a Scorpio Sky? Does he want to do that? Not taking anything away from Scorpio Sky, but you know what I mean. Like I said, Braun Strowman come in. Does he want to be like? Do they want to stick him in a put him in a feud against somebody lower down? Maybe he could feud with Matt Hardy. Does he want to do that? Does he want to feud with somebody lower down on the card? Or does he want to be the top guy? Does he want to be the main event? So like it's like you bring all these guys in. Is Rampage going to go to a 2 hour show? Are you going to add another hour to Dynamite? But yeah, you can't bring all these guys in and because they're all going to want to be, the top guy. They're all going to want to be the main event. So let's see. He could be referring to some NXT guys as well. Maybe he's looking at some indie talent as well. And but we'll see. We'll see who he's bringing. But he definitely says that he's expecting several new members to the roster very soon. But I just hope too many chefs in the kitchen don't spoil the soup. That's all I have to say there. Speaking of scouting indie talent, the WWE is no longer going to scout independent wrestling talent, which is just ridiculous. The WWE, I don't know what they're. This is SE Scoops. It's WWE no longer scouting independent wrestling talent. So there have been several reports in recent weeks regarding WWE's approach to scouting and hiring talent. According to a recent report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE will no longer be scouting talent from independent wrestling promotions. It says several in the company have told us that the word from the top is no more independent talent as far as scouting and such. As per Dave Meltzer, They are back to the feeling of scouting by looks and not because guys have gotten over elsewhere, and teaching people with the right look to be wrestlers. Okay, that's just, I think there's a major issue with that. A major issue with that. So let me read. They're going to teach people with the right look to be wrestlers. Okay, there's one thing that those people with the right look that they want to teach to be wrestlers is lacking, and that's passion for professional wrestling. If you see an Olympic swimmer and they're like, wow, wow, look at the body on that guy. He's got the look. He's got the look. Let's bring him in, right? One, he doesn't have the passion for professional wrestling. Okay, if you see a bodybuilder, not a bodybuilder, if you see a weightlifter and he's lifting like he's lifting like 900 pounds over his head, and you're like, wow, he's got the look. Let's bring him in and teach him how to be a wrestler. So one thing that weightlifter is lacking, and that's passion for professional wrestling. If you see a gymnast and she's got just muscles in her leg and she just looks the part. Like, wow, look at her. She could do backflips. Look how fast those cartwheels are. Wow, look at her go on the rings. Let's bring her in and teach her how to be a wrestler. One thing that she's lacking is the passion to be a professional wrestler. And can she cut a promo? Can she do all that? Can he do all that? That's the problem there. You independent wrestlers, you got guys who have the passion for this. Look at Josh Alexander in Impact Wrestling. Independent wrestler, was doing it for years upon years upon years. Dude has the passion to be a professional wrestler. He wants to be a professional wrestler. If that you bring in a track and field star because they run fast and they look good, and you teach them how to be a professional wrestler. If it doesn't work out for them, they don't care. They don't have the passion. They don't want to continue being a wrestler. They're just going to go on and get a job in an accounting firm somewhere because they don't have the passion to be a professional wrestler. You can't teach that. You can't teach passion. The best wrestlers in the world have the passion for professional wrestling. That's why AEW, Tony Khan totally disagrees with that. He put out a tweet on it. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but he agrees independent wrestlers are a place that independent promotions definitely are a place you need to scout for talent because they have the passion. They have the passion for professional wrestling. Big mistake, but that's the WWE. They're not interested. They're not interested in bringing in anybody that has the passion. They're not interested. It's going to really hurt them in the long run. It's really going to hurt them in the long run, right? Because if someone doesn't have the like I don't have the passion to swim. I hate swimming, so I'm not going to go out and be a swimmer. If you throw money at a swimmer, an Olympic swimmer, and say, hey, why don't you come to the performance center, right? We'll train you how to do we'll train you how to do a hammerlock and a headlock and a drop kick. We'll teach you all that. And then we'll put you in the ring in WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania. They'll put you in the ring at WrestleMania. That's hey, that sounds pretty cool. I can learn how to do a hammerlock. But one thing they can't freaking learn is the passion for professional wrestling. And on that note, I'm just going to say thank you very much for listening to me today. I'm Lewis Carlin. This is the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. This is Shooting Up North on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. And until next time, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.